He who has a thing to sell and goes to whisper in a well is not as sure to get the dollar as he who stands up high and hollers. Hi everybody, my name is Greg Crable and this is my daily podcast, Something I Learned Yesterday, in which I take one issue from the world of publishing and try to explain it in about 3 or 4 minutes. There's this thing called last click attribution, where you assign a sale to the last click. If you think about your own buying behavior, you'll quickly realize that model probably only works for a very small percentage of your purchases, and that it gets less and less valuable as the price increases. A lot of touch points are usually required to sell a higher priced product. The idea that you can attribute the sale to one particular touch point isn't all that sensible. Michelle Tresemer, hope I got that right, Michelle, says in a YouTube video that I'll link below, most of the time when I see marketing teams trying to get attribution, it's because someone above them is asking for something ridiculous. That's exactly right. The reality is that it takes many touch points to close a deal, and there's no way to track them all. It's simply impossible. Marketers should be measured by revenue, and management shouldn't be getting into their stuff all the time about all the details. However, marketers still need to make some decisions about where to invest their money. They can't just throw up their hands and say, I don't know what's driving sales, and spend on everything or on nothing, or, and I've seen this, base it on what their kids are doing on social media. Don't do that. There are several different ways to view attribution, and some of them can give you hints about specific things. For example, first touch attribution helps you understand how people are exposed to your brand in the first instance. Last touch attribution might be helpful in measuring certain calls to action, the effectiveness of your landing page or your store. So there are different models that can be useful for different things, but all the interactions are having some effect, and it's very hard to tease that out. Unfortunately, the push towards data-driven marketing, here's the problem. If the only tool you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail, right? So everybody's working on a computer, so everybody wants to reduce things down to numbers and spreadsheets and how you can attribute things mathematically. But it doesn't work like that. Pay attention to your own buying habits and imagine what kinds of false conclusions the seller might be making about your own decision-making process. Try multiple types of models, but have some humility about it and realize that the data might seem to say one thing, but when you act on your conclusion, you might not get the result you expected. The bottom line is it's a tough job, and just because you have a computer doesn't mean you can figure out exactly what's cause and effect in the sales process, and it's just not going to work. So anyway, that's my thought for today. I'd love to hear your reaction. It's a complicated subject, it's difficult, and people have a lot of different opinions about it. I think the bottom line is that human behavior is complicated, and it's not a good idea to try to reduce it down to 1 or 2 things. Thanks so much.